Have you ever just, stopped and wondered if the absolute cutting edge of science, all that complex physics stuff,
Mm.
and the really deep ancient spiritual wisdom, if maybe, just maybe, they're pointing towards the exact same truth about, well, everything, about reality itself?
It's a powerful thought, isn't it? Kind of gets you right here.
It really does. And today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking a deep dive into this very idea. The idea that maybe science and spirit aren't separate paths after all.
But they're converging.
Exactly, converging to show us a universe that's way more connected, more alive, more tangled up with our own lives than we probably ever imagined.
It's a fundamental shift in perspective.
Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This is where we dig through some fascinating sources, pull out those key insights, those real aha moments.
The kind that can genuinely change how you see things.
That's the mission today. We're trying to bridge that gap between, theoretical physics on one hand and deep spiritual philosophy on the other.
And we've got some really compelling material to work with.
We do. We're looking at excerpts from Rabbi Shlomo Ezagui, specifically his work, The Omnipresent God and the Invisible Quantum Fields. It's been featured in places like Israel National News or Route 7 and the Times of Israel blog, so it's definitely sparked some conversation.
Right, it's making connections that really resonate.
Our goal here, our deep dive mission, is to pull out the most potent ideas from these texts. We want to help you see how a scientific view, a really nuanced one, doesn't just deepen your intellectual grasp of the universe.
Though it certainly does that too.
Right, but how it can also give you real strength, real peace, and actual insights for your everyday life, for your own journey of faith.
It connects the cosmic to the personal.
So get ready. We're starting with the big, abstract, almost mind-bending ideas from quantum physics.
Things that challenge our basic assumptions about reality.
And we're bringing it right down to the very real, tangible, lived experience of faith. How do these seemingly separate worlds, science talking about invisible fields, spirituality talking about an ever-present God, how do they actually meet?
And what does that meeting point tell us about God's omnipresence?
And about your place within it all, your unique, essential place. Seriously, prepare to see the world and maybe even yourself in a completely new light, a much more, resonant light.
It's an absolute stunning convergence, really. And it has the potential to, fundamentally reshape how we understand what it means to exist.
Okay, so where do we start? Foundational principles.
Let's start there. The source material immediately points us to a really foundational idea from, a giant of Jewish philosophy, Maimonides.
Right, Maimonides, huge figure.
Exactly. And he made this incredibly profound assertion. God is the ceaseless cause of all existence.
Ceaseless. So not just a one-time thing like, poof, universe exists.
Precisely not. This isn't about, some initial Big Bang moment where God lit the fuse and then stepped back.
Like a cosmic watchmaker who winds it up and leaves.
That's the key difference. Maimonides' insight goes much, much deeper. He's saying everything that exists depends on God constantly, right now, this very second.
Wow. So it's not a past tense creation story. It's an ongoing sustenance story, like a cosmic heartbeat keeping everything alive.
That's a great way to put it, a continuous sustenance. Maimonides talks about contingent beings. Think about that term.
Contingent, meaning dependent.
Dependent.
Yeah.
Everything we see, touch, think, feel, every particle, every star, every fleeting thought, its existence is contingent. It relies on something else for its being. It doesn't hold the reason for its own existence within itself.
Okay, I follow. Everything needs a cause, a source.
Right. And that ultimate source, that foundation upon which everything else depends, is what Maimonides identifies as God. And God, unlike everything else, is self-sufficient, necessary, not dependent on anything.
So not contingent.
Not contingent. And this is crucial. It implies a dynamic, active, divine role, not passive. God isn't just the architect who drew the plans. He's the very energy, the very presence that keeps the building standing, that keeps reality real, moment by moment by moment.
That's a huge shift from thinking of God as distant or separate. It brings him right into the fabric of this very second.
It does. Constant, active sustenance. That's the bedrock.
Okay, that's a powerful spiritual principle. Now here's where it gets really wild, right? Because this idea finds this incredible, almost uncanny echo in, science. Specifically quantum field theory, QFT.
Right, and QFT isn't just some fringe theory. It's described as one of the most robust, most tested scientific frameworks we have. It's fundamental to modern physics.
And what does it tell us? It reveals that reality, everything we see, somehow emerges from what looks like Nothing. Empty space?
That's how it appears at first glance. But as Rabbi Ezagui's text really emphasizes, that apparent nothing isn't empty at all. It's actually an underlying fullness.
A fullness disguised as emptiness.
Exactly. QFT completely upends our everyday idea of empty space. It's not a void. Instead, the universe is permeated everywhere by these invisible fields.
Invisible fields, like everywhere. In this room. Through me.
Everywhere. Through everything. They are the absolute fundamental fabric of reality, and they're not just sitting there passively.
Okay, so they're active.
Constantly active, they fluctuate, they vibrate. Physicists talk about vacuum energy or zero-point energy, this constant hum of activity, even in what seems like the deepest vacuum of space.
A hum, like a background energy.
A fundamental energy. And it's from these fluctuations, these spontaneous vibrations in the fields, that all forms of matter and energy are birthed. It's literally, according to our best science, the creation of something out of nothing, or rather something out of this underlying energetic fullness that is happening everywhere all the time.
Okay, hold on. Science is saying reality is constantly emerging from an invisible energetic fullness that's everywhere.
That's what QFT describes.
Yeah.
And you can immediately see how this resonates powerfully with those spiritual traditions that speak of creation happening from God's own essence.
Yeah, the idea that we appear separate, but we're actually part of this underlying source.
It allows for that appearance of separation, but ultimately, as the text suggests, it points back to this single underlying reality from which everything emerges. It's Him all along.
Wow. That's a genuine aha moment right there. It's like science is providing the operational manual for what mystics have been sensing for ages. Not just a metaphor, but the actual physics of it.
It certainly feels that way sometimes. The descriptions align in remarkable ways.
And to really get this, Rabbi Ezagui says we need to dig a bit deeper into QFT, into what particles actually are, because they're not tiny billiard balls, are they?
No, not at all. That old picture is gone. QFT tells us that what we perceive as a particle, an electron, a photon, whatever, isn't a discrete little point. It's actually an excitation, a ripple, a vibration in one of those underlying omnipresent fields.
A ripple in the field. Explain that.
Okay, imagine one of these quantum fields, say the electron field, stretching out everywhere, perfectly calm, like a completely still, endless lake.
Okay, got the lake. Still water.
Now imagine something gives that lake a burst of energy at a particular point. It plucks the surface. What happens?
Ripples spread out.
Exactly. Those ripples are the particles. An electron is just a ripple, an excitation in the electron field. A photon, a particle of light, is a ripple in the electromagnetic field.
So the particle isn't separate from the field.
It is the field, just in an excited, localized state. More energy put into that field at that location, you get more ripples, more particles of that type. The field is the fundamental thing. The particles are how the field manifests when it's energized.
So let me see if I've got this. What looks and feels solid to me, or even light itself, is really just the visible trace of invisible fields in motion.
That's a perfect summary from the text. It's not just poetic. It's how physicists actually describe it. They say the field is the fundamental element, and particles are simply the visible signals of that field being active or energized.
That completely changes what solid means. It makes reality feel much more fluid, connected.
Both. It reveals this deeper, unified reality beneath the surface appearances. It challenges our intuition about a world made of separate, independent things.
And science doesn't fully know why these ripples become stable particles we can measure.
Well, the mathematics describes how it happens incredibly accurately, predicting experimental results with amazing precision. But the ultimate why these specific fields exist, why energy condenses into these specific forms, that still holds some mystery.
But the implication is huge.
Huge. It means all of reality, from the farthest galaxies to the chair you're sitting on, even the thoughts running through your mind right now, all of it rests on, emerges from, this hidden, vibrating, foundational fabric.
So think about that for a second, listeners. What does it mean that your own existence, your body, your thoughts, are part of this hidden, vibrating, everywhere present fabric?
It shifts everything. It suggests an inherent unity, a constant hum of potential underlying all things.
Okay, well, my head is spinning a little, in a good way.
Yeah.
Let's build on that. If that's the foundation reality as this vibrant, interconnected field, the next step is seeing how these insights converge even more deeply.
Right, converging insights. This is where the parallels get really specific and, frankly, quite startling.
We mentioned QFT and the standard model of physics. You said it identifies about 24 fundamental fields, give or take.
That's the current understanding, yes. Roughly 24 fields that account for the known fundamental particles. The quarks, the leptons like electrons, and the force carriers, like photons and gluons. These are the building blocks.
The building blocks dictated by these underlying fields. Okay, 24 fields. Now, here's the mind blower from Rabbi Ezagui's text. That number, 24, finds this direct parallel in Jewish tradition.
A striking parallel. The 24 books of the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible.
The entire written Hebrew Bible, 24 books, 24 fundamental fields. Is that just a coincidence?
The text suggests it's much more than that. It points towards a deeper underlying order, maybe even an intentionality in how the universe is structured.
Intentionality, that's a big word in this context.
It is. Remember the quote from the Zohar, the mystical text, God looked into the Torah and created the world. Rabbi Ezagui offers this interpretation. What science is now discovering is these fundamental quantum fields. Perhaps these are akin to the written blueprints of creation mentioned in the Zohar.
So the fields aren't just physical laws, they're like the universe's source code, the divine instructions made manifest.
That's the idea being presented. It suggests the universe isn't just a random collection of forces, but has this inherent design, this deep structure, reflected both in our physics and our sacred texts. These fields are the words or letters God used to speak reality into being.
And just to appreciate the science side for a moment, these 24 fields aren't arbitrary guesses, right? They come from decades of experiments, particle accelerators.
Oh, absolutely. Immense effort at places like CERN, finding the Higgs boson, confirming the existence and properties of these fields with incredible precision. It's hard-won scientific knowledge.
So this precise physical structure, discovered through science, mirrors a structure found in ancient spiritual texts. That's the core connection.
That's the core connection. And it doesn't stop with the Tanakh. The number 24 carries weight in Kabbalistic tradition too.
Kabbalah, the mystical side of Judaism, what's the connection there?
Kabbalah speaks of the 24 heavenly courts. Now, these aren't literal courthouses in the sky.
Right, more symbolic.
Exactly. They symbolize the divine system of judgment, cosmic order, and how divine influence flows into the world. They're connected to the Sephirot, those 10 divine attributes or channels, like wisdom, understanding, mercy, judgment.
The roadmap of how God interacts with creation.
Precisely. And these 24 courts represent the intricate ways divine justice and mercy are administered across different spiritual levels. They're fundamental to understanding the soul's journey and spiritual balance in Kabbalistic thought.
Okay, so let's draw the parallel again. Just like the 24 quantum fields govern the rules of physical reality.
These 24 spiritual courts in Kabbalah govern the cosmic and spiritual order. Both point to these omnipresent underlying structures or systems, one physical, one spiritual, but maybe reflecting a single unified divine system.
A unified system of governance for all of reality.
That's profound.
Yeah, it really elevates these quantum fields beyond just physics equations.
It does. If you follow this line of thought, as Rabbi Ezagui suggests, then these omnipresent energy fields, the source and sustainer of everything, they start to look less like impersonal forces and more like, well, a reflection and manifestation of the divine intelligence permeating everything.
Divine intelligence, not just energy, but intelligent energy.
That's the implication. It shifts QFT from just a descriptive framework to a window into the nature of the divine itself. It suggests a conscious, intelligent foundation to reality, not just random quantum fluctuations.
So think about that. If these fields, the source of your very being, reflect divine intelligence, what does that say about your own consciousness, your own existence?
It suggests you're not just a complex arrangement of particles.
Yeah.
You are a manifestation of that omnipresent divine intelligence. Your thoughts, your awareness, your creativity, they're not separate from it. They arise from it.
It makes you inherently connected, inherently part of that divine fabric.
Deeply connected. It's a unifying perspective.
Which leads us right into the heart of it, doesn't it? How does this understanding actually change things for us day to day? Living in his presence, a transformative daily walk.
Exactly. Because if all this is true, if God is this omnipresent, intelligent field constantly sustaining us, it forces a really profound question.
Which is?
Rabbi Ezagui's text puts it starkly. What happens if and when you begin to genuinely believe?
Believe what?
Not just intellectually, not just as a nice idea, but with your entire being. Believe that God himself is walking with you and actually within you every single moment.
Not just watching from afar, but intimately present, closer than your breath, as the text says.
Closer than your breath. If you truly deeply internalize that reality, what changes?
The text says, everything.
Everything. It changes how you speak. It changes how you face fear. It changes how you move through the world.
How so? Give me an example. Fear, maybe.
Well, if you genuinely feel that omnipresent divine reality is sustaining you, fear loses its grip. Think of Psalm 118.6. The Lord is with or me, I shall not fear. What can do to me?
That sounds nice, but often fear feels much stronger than belief.
Of course. But the text argues this isn't about naive optimism, like pretending dangers aren't real. It's about a profound, deep-seated sense of security that comes from knowing you're not facing it alone. You're held. Your very being is part of this immense divine presence.
So it shifts your internal ground from anxiety to calm, trust.
A grounded calm, yes. Because, as the text emphasizes, we do not walk in our own strength. That's key.
We walk in his presence and power.
Exactly. It's not about trying harder, pushing yourself more. It's about tapping into that omnipresent field, that divine energy, which is God. It's a shift from self-reliance to divine reliance.
And this is something you have to, like, earn or wait for until you've got your life perfectly sorted out.
Absolutely not. That's a crucial point the source makes. This presence, this connection, is available right now, in this very moment. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are, what mistakes you've made, how messy things feel.
It's not conditional.
Not conditional at all. Think of Psalm 94.14. For the Lord will not forsake his people, nor will he desert his inheritance. It's presented as an eternal covenant, an unbreakable bond.
Like the field itself. It's just there, always.
Exactly. If God is the underlying field, the energy of your being, then his presence isn't something external you have to find or earn. It's inherent, constant, accessible, like the air you breathe, always present, whether you're thinking about it or not.
Okay, that sounds incredibly comforting. Revolutionary even, but life still throws curveballs, right? Bad things happen. Doubts creep in.
Absolutely. The text is very clear. This understanding doesn't magically erase challenges or suffering.
It doesn't make the path smooth.
No. But it fundamentally changes how you walk that path. The core difference is you never endure them alone.
Never alone.
Think about Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. The text adds this layer. He is your shepherd because he is the energy that science tells us is your very being.
Whoa, okay. So the shepherd isn't just external. He's the energy within.
That's the profound connection being made.
Yeah.
So when you face hardship, it's like, imagine a child walking through a scary, dark forest, but tightly holding their parent's hand.
The fear is real. The forest is dark, but the grip is secure.
Precisely. You can walk unafraid not because the forest suddenly becomes sunny and safe, but because you are held constantly by this omnipresent divine reality.
So it gives you the power to,
Right.
we just keep going even when you're scared.
Yes, to declare the truth when your voice trembles, as the text says, to stand firm when shadows loom, to move forward not by your own limited strength, but by the infinite strength of the one who is your very essence and who never lets go.
It shifts the burden, takes the weight off your shoulders.
Completely. It allows for a resilience you might not have thought possible.
So, if you're listening, just pause for a second. Think about a challenge you're facing right now, big or small. How might it feel different if you truly believed deep down that you're being held by this constant, inherent divine energy, that you're not alone in it?
It changes the entire dynamic from isolation to perpetual support.
Okay, this is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And it leads directly to the practical side, the how-to almost, the dynamic duo. Faith over fear, action over inertia.
Yes, how do we live this out? It starts with understanding true faith. The text defines it very clearly.
It's not just a feeling, right? Because the feelings come and go.
Exactly. True faith is described as trust that endures beyond emotion, especially when things look bleak, when God feels silent, when your emotions are screaming the opposite.
It's a conviction deeper than
A
feelings.
deep, ingrained conviction. The text reminds us of that core Torah teaching. You are children to God, your God. Remember that.
Yes, from Deuteronomy.
It's not just a nice sentiment. It means you are never abandoned. It's presented as an impossibility. That relationship, that parent-child bond, is the bedrock. You know you're loved and cared for, even when you can't see or feel it directly.
And this helps us see the difference between faith and fear, because fear can feel so dominant sometimes.
It can. But here's the crucial distinction the text makes. Fear imagines disaster without proof. Think about that. Fear often runs on what-ifs, on worst-case scenarios that haven't happened.
Right, it anticipates the negative.
Whereas faith chooses to anticipate God's goodness without knowing the final outcome. It's an active choice, a different kind of anticipation.
Choosing to expect good even when you can't see how it will happen.
Precisely. Like the psalmist says in Psalm 38, "Because I hoped for you, O Lord, you shall answer, O Lord my God." Faith doesn't need the whole roadmap laid out. Our logical minds crave that certainty, but faith trusts the guide. It trusts that the omnipresent intelligence, the field itself, will direct each step.
It's about trusting the next step, not the final destination.
Exactly. It's a commitment to partnership, even when the path ahead is hidden.
And the source gives us those powerful historical examples, right? Moses, David, Esther.
Incredible examples. Moses facing down the entire Egyptian empire. David, just a boy, facing Goliath. Esther risking execution to save her people. These aren't abstract theories.
These were real people facing terrifying odds.
Absolutely. The fear they felt must have been immense. These were life and death moments. But in each case, faith didn't deny the reality of the danger.
It didn't pretend the giant wasn't there.
No. It simply believed that God, the omnipresent reality, was greater than the danger. It reinterpreted the situation through that lens.
Which brings us back to Psalm 23. Even when I walk in the valley of darkness, I will fear no evil, for you are with me.
Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. The darkness is real. The valley is real. The potential for evil is real. But the presence conquers the fear. The knowledge of being held, sustained by that omnipresent field, provides the comfort and the courage.
So walking by faith isn't about suddenly having all the answers or seeing the future clearly.
Rarely. The text emphasizes this. Walking by faith is rarely about clarity. It is about courage born of trust.
Courage born of trust. I like that.
Every time you take a step into that uncertainty, consciously holding on to that trust in God's presence, you strengthen that spiritual muscle.
It builds on itself.
It does. You remember past moments when he came through, maybe in small ways, maybe big. Those memories fuel your courage for the next step. It's a living, growing relationship where experience deepens trust.
Think about a time maybe you had to act without knowing the outcome. How leaning on that trust could have changed the experience.
Exactly.
Okay, this leads to another really interesting practical principle from the Torah. Obedience before clarity. Or Kabbalat oil, as the text calls it.
Kabbalat oil, literally accepting the yoke.
Yeah.
It means if you truly believe God is always with you, is sustaining you like that omnipresent field, then you can act. You can move forward before you see the whole picture.
You don't need the 5-year plan first.
You don't. Think of that metaphor from Psalm 119. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path.
A lamp. It only lights up the next few steps, right? Not the whole road ahead.
Exactly. God often guides us step by step, not revealing the entire journey at once. Why? Perhaps because he wants us to stay close, to rely on him for the next step, fostering that intimacy and trust. Kabbalat oil is about saying yes to that next step, even without full understanding.
Committing to the instruction without needing all the whys answered first.
Yes. The Lubavitcher Rebbe told that story about Abraham, didn't he? God says, go to the land I will show you. He doesn't show it first. He just says, go.
And Abraham just went.
He obeyed, not with a GPS coordinate, but with total trust. Kabbalat oil. That, the source says, is the essence of faith in action. Stepping into the unknown because you believe God walks with you.
So every breakthrough, every major step forward probably requires that kind of leap.
It often does. You have to move before you see the landing spot clearly, trusting you'll be guided. Faith isn't passive waiting. It's active. Faith is action.
It doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It moves in holy confidence.
Trusting that the one who calls you also equips you. And there's that fascinating link from the Mishnah too.
Right, about measure for measure.
Yes, Mishnah Soda. In the measure we measure out life, God's responses are measured back to us. It suggests our actions, our steps of faith, our measuring out, actually open the door for God's response.
So it's not about earning miracles, but our actions create the space for them.
It implies a dynamic partnership.
Yeah.
Miracles, divine interventions, breakthroughs. They often seem to wait on our willingness to act in faith, to demonstrate our trust through obedience and surrender. Taking that step, however small, aligns us with the divine flow and invites his power into the situation. That small ripple of faith shows the ocean is there.
Okay, this whole understanding being part of this omnipresent field, walking in faith, acting before clarity, this must change how we see ourselves, right? Our identity.
Absolutely. That's the next crucial piece. The transformed identity and creative power. When you truly grasp that you walk in God's presence, that you are a manifestation of this divine field, your very identity begins to transform.
How so? From what to what?
From an identity based on external factors, what you do, what you have, what others think, to an identity rooted in your inherent connection to the divine. The text quotes Tanya 41.
The Shabbat text.
Right. It says, "And behold, Jia himself stands over him. The whole world is full only with his glory. He scrutinizes him, searches his reins and heart, his innermost thoughts and emotions."
Meaning you're intimately known, constantly in his presence.
Intimately known and constantly present. So while the world might slap labels on you, broken, not good enough, too far gone, God's declaration over you is entirely different.
What does he declare?
The Torah says, "You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, God's special possession." Your fundamental worth isn't based on your performance, your successes or failures. It comes directly from God's unchanging declaration. It's inherent.
That's incredibly liberating. Your worth isn't up for grabs, it's divinely given.
It's foundational. It grounds you in something unshakable, regardless of external validation or internal feelings of inadequacy.
And this new identity connects to the power of our words, creative power in your tongue.
Yes. It's a profound concept. Rabbi Ezagui connects it straight back to Genesis. How did God create?
With words, let there be light.
Exactly. He spoke reality into being.
Mm-hmm.
The text suggests that we, being reflections of that divine intelligence, also have creative power in our speech, especially when we align our words with God's truth.
So speaking words of faith actually does something. It's not just positive thinking.
It's presented as much more than that. It's an act of spiritual alignment. When you consciously choose to replace a thought or statement of lack or fear, like "I'll never get through this," with the declaration of truth like "God is my provider, he is with me,"
You're doing more than just trying to cheer yourself up.
you're actively invoking creative change. You're aligning your personal reality with the greater divine reality. Declaring "I can do all things through his strength" isn't denying difficulty. It's affirming the source of your ultimate capability.
So it's not empty hype, as the source says. It's a deliberate spiritual practice.
Exactly. Speaking faith aloud, consistently, acts like tuning fork. It aligns you with God's work, opens you to his possibilities. It literally reshapes your own faith over time, strengthens your spirit, and can even shift the atmosphere around you.
You're using your God-given creative power, mirroring his creation through words.
You're participating in that creative process, aligning your speech with the omnipresent field of divine intelligence and potential.
Which brings us right back around, full circle, to QFD. But now we see it differently, not just as physics,
but as this incredible living metaphor for divine reality itself, just like those invisible quantum fields vibrate constantly, creating all matter.
So too, the unseen presence of God vibrates through every moment, giving life, meaning, and renewal.
And the invitation here is to really take this seriously. To develop, as the text says, a seriousness to the above. What if you genuinely start to perceive the all-pervading field as the divine reality itself?
What happens then?
Your whole perspective shifts. You find courage where fear used to speak because, the fundamental reality is support. You find identity where shame used to shout because your worth is divinely anchored.
You live differently.
You live in faith, not just believing God exists somewhere out there, but knowing he is here now, active, present, like the field itself, permeating every particle, including the particles that make you up.
And this changes everything. Prayer, for instance.
Prayer becomes less about reaching up to some distant deity in heaven and more about connecting with the divine force that already surrounds and permeates you. It's tapping into the field.
And miracles, they don't seem so impossible.
Because at any moment, God can change the plan. Something new, something better can emerge from the field, from that omnipresent potential. The rules aren't as fixed as they seem when you account for the source of the rules.
And that insight from QFT about emptiness.
It's so powerful. Science shows emptiness is never empty. The vacuum is charged with potential. There's real energy, real activity, even in the void.
Like the Casimir effect you mentioned, measurable force from nothing.
Exactly. And spiritually, this mirrors the truth that when life feels most barren, when you feel most empty or lost, faith proclaims that it's precisely there that God is closest. That's where the greatest potential for new life, new creation resides.
Wow. That connection between the scientific vacuum and spiritual emptiness, that's profound. It changes how you see prayer, miracles, even the dark times.
It transforms them from points of despair into points of connection and potential. It's a deeply hopeful synergy between science and spirit.
What an absolutely incredible journey today. Seriously. We started with Maimonides and God's constant presence.
Found echoes in the omnipresent dynamic quantum fields described by science.
Saw the parallel between the 24 fields and the 24 books of the Tanakh, suggesting a deep underlying order.
And explored how understanding this unity transforms everything: our identity, our approach to fear, the power of our words, the nature of faith itself as action.
It all comes together to paint this picture of a universe alive with divine presence and us inherently part of it.
It really is a call to live differently, to embody this truth. The texts encourage us, urge us to take the step.
Just take the step.
Yeah. Pray even when the words feel weak or you don't feel anything. Dare to act, even when doubt is whispering loudly in your ear. Move forward, consciously choosing to rely not on your own limited strength, but on the infinite strength of the one who designed it all, the vast universe of quantum fields and the incredibly intricate, courageous potential of your own heart.
And that wisdom from the Lubavitcher Rebbe feels so relevant here. If God renews creation every single moment.
Which resonates perfectly with the constant flux of quantum fields.
And the past is truly gone, the future isn't written yet.
So logically, there is no room for worry and anxiety. It becomes almost irrational to be paralyzed by yesterday or terrified of tomorrow when reality is being made new right now.
All we need to do is strengthen our faith and trust in the God who is making this present moment and can do anything in the next.
It's an invitation to live in that perpetual newness, that constant potential.
And the core message, wrapping it all up.
God didn't bring us this far to leave us. He walks with us, in us, around us, always. That omnipresent reality is constant.
Like Isaiah said, "You are my people in whom I pride myself."
It's an unwavering commitment. Trust him. Move forward. Align your life, your thoughts, your words, your actions with this deepest truth, and watch how your world transforms from the inside out.
So as we close this deep dive, here's something to really sit with, a final thought to anchor this journey for you personally. We keep coming back to Psalm 23. Even when I walk in the valley of darkness, I will fear no evil, for you are with me.
Such powerful words.
Think about your own faith, maybe even your trembling faith, as the source material puts it. That small, sometimes hesitant spark within you. See it not as insignificant, but like a tiny ripple appearing on the surface of that vast, infinite quantum ocean.
A ripple that doesn't diminish the ocean.
Exactly. It doesn't diminish his presence. Instead, that very ripple, your act of faith, however small, actually reveals the ocean. It invites the infinite God who is already completely present more fully into your conscious experience, into your life.
It makes the connection tangible.
So the question for you today is, how will you choose to walk in his ways, as Deuteronomy says? How will you choose to step forward right now, today, as if you truly believe he is right here because he is? Like that constant vibrating field of divine potential surrounding you, sustaining you, loving you every single moment.